and welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah and I'm the Clumsy Stitcher here on YouTube and over on Instagram. And I don't know if you can see, there is a very sleepy Ella who will hopefully just casually chill this video. This is my YouTube channel where I talk all about cross stitch. If you are a new viewer, you are very welcome here. If you are a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back and spending some more time with me. I have quite a lot to catch you up on this month. It has been a little while since I filmed, as I always seem to say, and similarly as I always seem to say, it has been very busy. It's mainly been work stress this month, lots of long hours being pulled to get some stuff over the line. But I have been able to get a fair amount of stitching done in between, so I am quite excited with what I've got to show you. I've got a couple of finishes, I've got a few works in progress, I've got my dragons coming back out, and I have a new start as well. So I think we will just get straight into the stitching. But before we do, I actually have a shout out, which for the first time in a while, which I apologise for. I don't have much time to watch Flosstube, and so normally I'm just catching up with kind of the channels I'm subscribed to. But I have actually discovered a new to me Flosstuber this month, but I know a lot of you will know her already. This is Sarah, and her channel name is Sew Me Sarah. She is based in Northern Ireland, and she actually shouted me out last summer, but I've gone back and I've started watching her videos from the beginning, and unfortunately I've only just managed to catch it, but I really recommend going to check out her channel. She has such a variety of projects. I'm still making my way through her back catalogue, like I said, but the projects I've seen so far are absolutely lovely. She hosted a stitch along for the time windows done by Cressetta Gogo, which I'm desperate to stitch at some point, so I've really loved seeing all of her progress on them. But she stitches such a variety of items, and they're really beautiful to see developing, so I really recommend going to check out her channel. And a very belated thank you to Sarah for shouting me out all that time ago now. Now moving on to the stitching. My first finish that I have to show you shouldn't be much of a surprise. It is the next in my Advent Animals series that I'm doing, and last time I showed you, I think I had the bottom of the kangaroo, but now I've got him completely finished. So this is number 9, and it's Kenny is his name. Very cool, sipping Christmas cocktails. And I think it's a Hawaiian shirt. So this is a free pattern. The whole series is a series of free patterns from Brooks Books. And I'm stitching on a 32 count even weave in the colourway Falling Snow from Lakeside Needlecraft. Sorry, I keep swinging. It's all with the called for DMC, but I make a few changes on all of them just to best suit me. For example, he was back stitched all the way around the outside, and there was no way I was doing that, essentially. And the numbers I've changed as well. So I'm stitching this, I've stitched it with DMC 816, and then over the top I'm putting a Krynic, and I'll have to put the name across the bottom because I can never remember. But I just wanted to have them a bit shiny. So this is number 9, really chuffed with how he showed up. A little bottle of suntan cream down the bottom as well. This one, I don't know, I made so many errors in this one. I had to unpick and restitch so much. I think I was quite relieved by the end to have this one done, if I'm being brutally honest. But I am very pleased with how he's looking. So yeah, that's my number 9. The next finish I think will be a little bit of a surprise. It was a surprise to me. This month I did get in a bit of a finishing mood, and I wanted to get a couple of things off my whip list. But I didn't want to focus on anything too big, because I have a lot of my projects are quite big, and it will take a fair amount of time to get them finished. And so I wanted to pick a project where even if I didn't finish it, I could feel like I was making progress. And so I picked up my well-rounded perennial pinwheels by Hands On Design. Because I've done the spring one, and I've been working on the autumn one, and I can't remember last time I showed you, I don't know if I'd finished this motif or if I just had a quarter of this motif. I cannot remember now at all. But I felt like because you've got these 2 other circles, even if I only finished one of them, it would feel like I was making some progress. So this is, I'll show you the fabric as a whole, and then I'll show you the individual motifs. So this is all 3 of them on the same fabric. This is a Cumulitis 32 count linen by Chromatic Alchemy, and it's actually showing up true there. Absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love this linen. I think it's amazing colour. I'll just zoom in on the individual motifs quickly. So this is the big one. And again, the sewing gods weren't with me this month. I had to unpick and restitch so much. I miscounted so much on this one. But I really like the overall effect. The next one is the one that says Autumn Fields. Oops, there we go. I just love this yellow on this blue. I think it just stands out so nicely. And I love the use of negative space here as well. And then the last one is, this is the one with the most kind of detail in. So even though it's smaller, it normally takes a little bit longer because you've got lots of little bits of stitching rather than being able to kind of do block colours. But again, because of that, I find these the most beautiful because they have the most detail and they've all got a little house there. Sorry, it's a bit floppy. There we go. So really, really pleased with how this turned out. And this is all just stitched with a cool 4 DMC as well. So I'll show you all again, all 3 of them. So I'm not finishing these until I finish the whole set. So like I said, I have spring already. Because I've been looking, because you can get a finishing kit to make them look like this. And I've been looking for it, but I can't find it yet. I don't know if I might have to request it from one of the UK online shops. But I'll just do that at the end. So that is that one. And now we can move on to my works in progress, or WIPs. And this one I'm about to show you I haven't actually worked on for quite a while. It is the Tequila pattern by Stitch Rovia, also known as Emma Congdon. I'll put in a picture of what it will look like when it's finished. And then I haven't made that much progress overall, but I have added in a couple of words. So this is where I am now. So before I just had, I just had the Take Life here. So it was looking a little bit, it wasn't a positive message. And so I've added the words underneath Wither. And I think what I might do is do all the words and then do all of the bits around the outside. But I'm loving this blue against this black. You have to have it in the right light, otherwise it does blend in a little bit, but I do think it's really, really vibrant when you have the sun on it. So that is where I am with that one. So this project is on my WIP Go board. It hasn't been called yet, but I was hoping to get 25% this year. And I'm not on 10% yet, so we'll see how it goes. That is the Tequila pattern. The next one is one that again was on my WIP Go board. So it's on my WIP Go board 3 times. Oh, if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about when I'm talking about WIP Go, it is the brainchild of Jessie Marie Does Stuff. And I've talked about it a lot in my previous videos, so there is more information there if you need it. So last time this is what the pattern will look like when it's finished, because this was a mystery stitch along last year, and I started it I think midway through the year and then didn't keep up with it basically. And this is where I was last time, and so it was on my WIP Go board to finish the top row, and I did. So I added in the cider cup, and then I've added the border as well. So I'll just focus in on the new cup. I'm loving this. This is one of the new DMCs, this red, I think it's 22. And just loving that colour. And then this is the whole top row. So I have changed the outside because the border was meant to be this grey colour, which isn't actually standing out all that well on this fabric. So I have changed the border. So it's a dark brown, so it looks like it's like a wooden board, in my head anyway. I am stitching this on a 32 count even weave by Fabric Flair in Café au Lait. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how these are all looking. So they still need their beads, but all the stitching is done, including the back stitch. And then you can see in the middle at the bottom there, I have started on the next cup because it's been called on my whip go again. And the next goal is for me to get 3 cups done. So I just kind of went down to the middle and I'll work in one of the corners. I'm not quite sure which one yet. So yeah, very pleased with how that's looking. And I'm stitching that with all the called for DMC, and I've got all the called for beads as well when I get there. The next piece I have to show you is the piece I am working on as a kind of wedding sampler piece. It is the Zelda and Link piece from Unique Door Sign. So I'll put a quick picture of what it will look like when it's finished and what it looked like last time. And then here it is. Now bear with me 1 second. So I've added in all of the green on Zelda because I'm trying to do a bit of colour completion now. And so when I pick up a colour, I want to try and get all of the stitches done in that colour. So I'll zoom in a bit on Zelda's green. No, I'll just keep it back here. So this is stitched on a 32 count glacier linen, again from Chromatic Alchemy. And then, like I always say, it's more turquoise than it's showing up, and a bit lighter. I can have a get this. Let me just try and hold it a bit flatter. So our wedding anniversary is the 3rd of July, and so I'm still trying to get it finished for them. But time is very quickly running away from me and I keep getting distracted. So I just need to knuckle down, as I always say. But something I will discuss in plans will hopefully help me to do that. But this is where I am so far. So to finish it now, I've got Zelda to do, and then there's writing underneath. And then I'll add in our wedding date information as well. So I'm trying to keep things neat as I go, otherwise I'm going to have a big tidying job when after I stop filming. The next piece I have to show you is one which you've seen a lot recently, but I will keep showing you because I absolutely love it. And this is the Ink Circles Cercle de Carreaux. And I will put in a picture of what it will look like at the end and what it looked like last time. And then I will fold it up to hopefully be able to show you a bit clearer. So I am stitching this with a sulky 12 weight cotton blendable in the colour 4090. And this is where I am now. So I finished that big centre square, and then I've decided to come up and work in this corner. So this was on my Whipgo board as well, and it has been called for 25% completion. I'm obviously not there yet, but I'm still so chuffed with how it's looking. It's stitched on a 40 count cream Zweigart linen. I'm just loving how, because it's so variegated, I'm actually caring less and less how the variegation comes together, because there's no way it's ever all going to match all at the same time. And because it's quite a big piece, if I cared too much, I think it would just take me too long and I'd lose the joy. But the frog came for me on this one as well. So I had all this bit where it goes down here, I had all of that finished on this bit up here, miscounted by 1 stitch, and it kept touching the square and I couldn't fix it, I couldn't fudge it. So, but I think especially because it's symmetrical, so it's really obvious when you make a mistake. So I unpicked a lot of stitches, but it is what it is. I haven't had to frog for quite a while, so I think it's only fair. But that's how it's coming along. So yes, still very pleased with this one. I haven't stitched on it very much this month. But it's, yeah, coming along quite well. The last work in progress I have to show you is one I didn't show in my last video, and I always get comments when it's been a little while since I show it. This is my full coverage piece with artwork by Stanley Morrison on his Margarita Dragon, and it's charted by Pain Free Crafts. I'm stitching this on 18 count, 2/1. And this is what the finished piece will look like. Last time I showed you this, I think I was just starting the next diagonal, because I've started diagonal stitching on this one. And I was really motivated this month to pick it up and finish this diagonal. And here it is. Da, 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 da. He's got an eye, and it keeps following me around the room. So it's going to be fun to keep stitching on this one. But yeah, so I think I was down here last time, and so I've come all the way up. This row was so confetti heavy. I think you can tell just from the number of threads that have been parked up in the next corner. But I'm so chuffed. He looks so good on the screen, because when you're working so close you don't realise, but then you kind of take a step back and you'd see the detail in that eye is just amazing. Oh, I'm so chuffed with this. And I'm still really liking the diagonal as well, because it's so satisfying when you get up to do the whole line. And you can see it like that. What I'll do is I'll bring him round, and I'll try and do it without getting too much shadow on it, but I never know how to do this. So this is where I've been working on. I don't know if you can see all the different colours there easily. Sorry, that felt like a very inelegant pan, but I hope you got the gist there. And so now I'll come across and I'll start coming down here. So as I've said before, I have tried so many techniques on this piece, and this is where I kind of was trialing a bit of cross country, but now it's mixing with where I'm doing my diagonal stitching coming down. And so I can't remember if I said this last time, but when I started diagonal stitching, I was just doing 10 by 10 squares diagonally. But because of the amount of confetti, I was rethreading my needle every 1 or 2 stitches. It was absolutely crazy. And so I've now started doing 20 by 20 diagonal blocks, stitching out all of one colour rather than going by line, and then parking it in the next 400 square block. And then basically just stitching out all my threads, adding in any new colours and just stitching them and parking them. And so what a lot of people do in their diagonals, what a lot of people do in their diagonal stitching as well is they'll cut, when they reach the bottom of the diagonal, they'll cut their thread and then restart from the top. But because I'd already kind of started in here, what I'm doing is where I'm going down, I'm parking and then coming back up. And so I'm kind of going up, down, up, down. And so when I'm parking, it's parked in the top colour, the top line where that colour is, for example. Just because it's enough faff already rethreading the needle, and if I had to actually trim threads and leave them somewhere safe and then rethread them, I think I'd just lose my mind with it a little bit, because this line took so long. I'm stitching so slowly on this, but it is so worth it for the look, for the appearance. It's because of that confetti that it looks so detailed. And I think also because it's the parrot, because it's the dragon's face, like over in this corner, it's all background. And so it's all kind of like, I know like on this far corner, there's like 3 colours. So that will go a bit quicker once I'm away from the dragon a bit, but I just love stitching the dragon so much. So not really sad about it. It's just taking a while. Because I was aiming to get 2,000 stitches done a month, and I reached that in January and February, but not reached it since. And last month I didn't really pick him up at all. So yes, that is where my dragon is. Really pleased with how that's going. The last piece I have to show you is a new start, and I know earlier on I said I was in the mood to finish things, but this is a bit of a special new start. This is for a friend who has recently bought a house. This is down in Cornwall. She is very, very dear to me. I used to work with her. She was my manager at a cafe before, and then she actually did our wedding flowers. So yes, she means an awful lot to me, and she is a huge fan of seagulls, which is a little bit rare amongst the Cornish people, I'm not going to lie. But there is one bird in particular where she looks after a greater black-backed gull on the seafront. And I saw this pattern and I just knew that I wanted her to have this in her new home as like her celebration. And it's another Cottage Garden Samplings because, again, I cannot get enough of their designs. And it's called A Summer at the Shore. It's part of their 12-part series they had last year. I think it was last year or the year before, called A Time for All Seasons. And I just thought it was perfect. So I am really, really, really excited to get this done. But it does mean I probably will need to focus on this piece a little bit. But I have been able to get a fair amount done already on the bird. So I started right in the middle. And I've started with the seagull's wings, so I'll hold them up next to each other. So I am stitching this on a 40 count Newcastle vintage country mocha. First time I'm ever using this fabric, and I've heard enough people talk about it to be curious. And I think it is just lovely. It's maybe a bit darker than what's used on the picture, but what was used in the picture wasn't available, and they recommended this as an alternative. And so I think it will look really, really good. So I'm stitching it 1/2 with all the called for DMC. As always, Cottage Garden Samplings recommends a couple of variegated flosses, but they have DMC alternatives. And so for one of the variegateds, I'm using a DMC alternative. But for another, actually, if you bear with me 1 second, I can show you what I will be using. So one of the variegated is recommended for the sea down here. And so I think it's like this grey to bluey colour. And what I've decided to use instead is one of the Owl Forest embroidery variegated, which I'm using in the titmice piece. And so it's colour 3422. But I just think it will be lovely. I think it will just be, because it's all these deep blues, and I just think it will be perfect. And hopefully I'll have enough left for my titmice piece. But I'll figure something out if not. So yes, that is where I am so far. And that is all of my stitching this month. So I feel like there's been quite a lot there. There has been quite a lot there. Now moving on to plans. So what I found when I was doing the autumn piece, the perennial pinwheels autumn piece, what I realised was I said to myself, I really want to get a finish on this. And so I just worked until I got that finish. And it was really, really, it felt like I'd really accomplished something, even though I know it was a finish, but still, because I'd set myself that goal and I'd actually stuck to it and I was able to achieve it, it felt quite good. And so I decided to set up, and so I decided that I would try and do this for the rest of my cross stitch pieces. So for example, on my dragon, I said, I'm going to start working on my dragon and I will not put the dragon down until I have finished that diagonal. And again, because this piece is so massive, and I'm not working, I can't say, oh, I've finished a page kind of thing. I'm doing it on percentages, but because it's so big, it takes a while to get any percent progress. So it felt really good to get that diagonal done, because I was like, oh, I've finished that diagonal and now I can move on to the next piece and I can see what I want to do, pick the piece I want to do next. And so I have a spreadsheet tracking all of my whips. Bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to open it up. I just use like Google Sheets because it means I can access it anywhere on any device and it makes it quite easy for me. And so what I've done, because I've currently got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 17 whips. And so what I've done is added an extra column, and basically written in what I want to achieve the next time I pick that piece up. And so, for example, on the dragon, it's a half a diagonal. And so it's quite a substantial process. So it means I will be spending more time on the dragon than I would potentially otherwise. I think I've said previously, I tend to jump around quite a lot, and means it takes a while for me to get any progress on anything because I just flip-flop and, I'm a bit scatty with my stitching maybe, in that I have no idea what I normally want to work on. I just pick something up and work on it for a little bit. And so, for example, on Cozy Cafe, I want to get a cup done. On my ink circles piece, I want to get up to 20%, that kind of thing. And so this is a new method to me because I'm doing Whip Go, but because my goals are kind of annual goals on Whip Go, it feels good to tick something off, but it's taking me quite a while to actually get there. I will put a quick picture of my Whip Go board. I'll just put it over the screen. Because as you can see, I finished, so there are 3 finished ones that haven't yet been called because I just felt like working on them at the time in that bottom right-hand corner. But there's also quite a few which have been called, which I've not been able to achieve yet. And it's not something I'm worried about. But I think I just need something extra just to push me a little bit. And I think when I'm being quite scatty and just picking pieces up willy-nilly, it's not getting me, I'm not feeling like I'm getting anywhere on anything, even though I am getting stitches roundabout places, if that makes sense. And so I'm going to give it a try properly this month, because obviously I was working quite heavily on my dragon, and so once I achieved that, now I actually need to pick the next piece I'm going to pick up. But because obviously our wedding anniversary is coming up soon, and I want to get the Summer at the Shore piece done quite quickly because my friend is moved in now, and so I would really like to get it to her. I don't know, this side of Christmas. I think they need to be my focus pieces. And so on Link and Zelda, for example, when next time I pick that up, I'm not putting it down until I finish Zelda, until I finish Link and Summer at the Shore. That is the next one I've picked up after Margarita Dragon. And so I'm not putting that down again until I finish the bird in the middle. So we'll see how I get on with that. I mean, it kind of depends on how busy work is, because when work's really busy, and I don't get to stitch as much, I do start feeling a bit guilty that I don't have as much to show you. And I'm trying not to be, I think I'm trying not to let I'm trying not to let YouTube determine what I stitch on to make sure I have enough content to show, if that makes sense. Because ultimately I want to get a lot more finishes this year, and I think I've had 3 so far, and 2 of them have been Advent animals, which are quite small. So yes, that is what I'm going to try and do. We'll see how it works. It might be I find it too constricting and that I just want to change. Ultimately, this is a hobby for all of us, and so I don't want to put too many limits on myself, but we shall see how it all goes. So yeah, overall plans are finish the bird on Summer at the Shore, probably finish that Link on my Link and Zelda piece, if not try and push for a finish of the whole thing. Definitely want to get more progress on my dragon, and I definitely want to try and push for the 25% on my ink circles piece as well, because then that is something I can tick off my Whip Go board, and I also love stitching on it. So that is where I am hoping to get. Bearing in mind that last time I quickly rewatched my plans section of my last video and literally did none of them. So you know what it's like. People say they have plans and then things happen. So we shall see, but that is what I am hoping to get done in the next month or so. That is everything I have to show you this month. I hope you've seen something that you've liked. I will put all the details below as per usual, but if you have any questions, please just let me know in the comments. I'm still so bad at replying to them. I'm really, really sorry. I'm going to play a big bit of catch up this afternoon, and so I will make sure that all of my comments are responded to. In the meantime, I hope that you are all doing okay, and I wish you a very happy stitching month, and I will catch up with you in June. Bye!